Today I'm in Meredon in Wiltshire, and this is possibly the site of an interesting episode from the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle of Cynewulf and Cyneheard. It's in the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle for the year 755, possibly it actually happened in 757, possibly it happened here in Meredon. I'd like to read you the episode in Old English. Herr Cynewulf benam Sigebricht his riches, and were Saxna Wilton for unruchten daden, but in Hamptonshire. And he havde there off the offslag, thon I Aldorman, they him lengest wonade. And hinni there Cynewulf, on andred, a dravde, and he there wounded, of that hinni and swan of Stein, at Privitus Floden, and he racked on I Aldorman Cumbran. And Sir Cynewulf oft miklum jefochtem fecht, with Breitwaldum, and an 30 winter, thus he his riches havde, he wolde antraffen, any athling se was Cyneheard haten. And si Cyneheard was that Sigebrichis brothel. And there je asked on, heth on I kuning little werode, on wiefkuthe, on Meredon. And hinni there berad, and thon I burtan beeode, hinni there men onfunden de mit dem kuninge waren, and there on yet se kuning that he on there duro eode, and there on hienliche hinni werede, of he on thon I athling lokkede, and there ut rasde on hinni, and hinni miklum jewonade, and here eal on thon I kuning waren fjochtende, of that here hinni of slayene havdon. And there on das wiefis jebarum, on funden das kunige stenes da unstillnesse, and there de urnon, swa Welsh, swa thon I jarowirth, and radest, and here as a athling, je welchum fjoch, and fair je beard, and here a nanny hit je sitje nolde, at je simli of fjochten waron, of je jallion, but an anem Britishum yisle, and says with the wounded was. There, on morgene, je heard them that das Könige Steines, they him beaften waron, that the König of Slyen was. There Meredon he thither, and his alderman Osrich, and Wiefirth his thane, and the men, they he beaften him lavde and thoni athling, on there I buri meton, the as the König of Slyen lay, and they gat to him to belokken have done, and there that to Jordan, and there ye bed he him here a dom, fierce and londis, yef hear him that riches orthon, and him cothon, that here amayes him midwarum, that they him from null, and our quad on here, that him nanny my lear from Meredon here a hlafod, and here nafre his ban and folian noldon, and there budon here a mayum, that here ye sunde from Jaudon, and here quadon that ilke here je ferum je beodon ware, they mit dem kuningem warum. Da quadon he, that he thus ne on mundon, thoni mar, they jaure je ferum, they mit dem kuningen of Slyen warum. And he, that da gato je fechten warum of that, here, daarin ne fulgon, and thoni atheling of slochen, and da men they mit him warum eela, but an anem. Se was that alderman is Godsonu, and he his fjochje nerrede, and there he was oft jewundet. And Sir Cynewulf riksode 30 winter, and his lich leith at Wintanchestra, and thus athelinges at Ashenminster, and here a richt fader Kuhn gath to Cherditch, and though ilken jare mon of sloch Athelbald Mürchna Kuning on Sekandune, and his lich lith on Hrepandune. and beyond that feng to reach, and little wheelie held, and unfearliche, and the Ilkanya offer feng to reach, and held Nichon and Thritti Wintra, and his son of Edgeforth held Anne and Thritti Dacha and Hundacha. So offer was Cinchferthing, Cynewulfing, Cynewulf, Osmolding, Osmod, Yowing, Yower Pubing, Puba Creoding, Creoda Cynewalding, Cynewald Knibbing, Knibba Itcheling, Itchel Jormaring, Jormar Angelthewing, Angelthew Offing, Offer Warmunding, Warmund Whitlying, Whitly Wardening.